Good morning. Happy Wednesday. It's February 3rd. Let's get right into some pre-market action. Futures are up right now about 1/3% on mainly Amazon and Google. Earnings news, big news for Amazon. Jeff Bezos is going to step down into Q3, transition into a new role. Jazzy, who's the head of Amazon's cloud departments, is the guy that's going to take over as CEO. If you look at Amazon here, just on the daily, right, the high 35.52, can't really break this 34.75 level, so we'll see if it opens, holds this, comes up, or if we get a little bit more sell-off back into yesterday's range down to 35.24, 34.25, maybe down into the 34.33 level. Google also had its earnings. They also beat up. It's already sitting at new all-time highs here yesterday after hours and pre-market hours, over 2,000. Some mainstream outlets, analysts are saying that because Google and Amazon's earnings were so good, that this could be the blow-off top for the markets, and could expect a downtrend coming here soon, especially with all quarterly earnings this season. I think above 80% have beat estimates, which would be a record. So we'll have to watch that going forward. So for today's movers, this one just jumped. SINO Global Shipping. They put out news that they're going to be doing some Bitcoin mining. This is a shipping company. They were moving last week. Shippers typically will try to jump on any momentum that they can. So with the GameStop move last week and all the frenzy it created, that was very similar to 2016 when dry ships had a similar move from like the dollar range up to $3 in a week. In a day, actually, I think it moved like $200 in a day. So they'll try to jump on any momentum. It looks like they're going to jump on the Bitcoin bandwagon here. I was literally looking at the news about like 540, and then it just took off, $10 here from 6 to 16. But if you look at like their long-term chart here on the right, you'll see they reverse split. They'll do this quite often. They'll put out some news, get the stock price up, and then do another offering to get more capital for the business. Part of their news today too was that they changed their management team. Anything to drive the stock price up. So if you're going to play something like this, get in and get out, get your money, and get the heck away from it. It wouldn't be surprising if this holds this $10 area, maybe retest that 16, and then at some point today or tomorrow it's going to sell off pretty hard. VXRT, which had been running the last part of last week on news that it had a oral COVID-19 vaccine that was showing promising data in animal studies. The animal studies were hamsters, which was kind of hidden in their press release, but the actual data came back on humans this morning, and obviously the market reaction was not very good. It's already down 50%. It showed that IgA levels, let's show you right here if I can pull it up. It didn't change it, so it says, this is where you have to like actually read into stuff. Sometimes you can go into articles. So first thing here on TDs, phase 1 study, so it's early trial. For its oral COVID-19 tablet vaccine reached primary secondary endpoints, and then you actually read the update. Vaccine candidate trial, no severe adverse events reported. And you get another one here, which actually gets into some science, some data type stuff. It's a headline PR. IgA response in serum or nasal swab samples in 100% of dose subjects. Neutralizing antibodies were not detected in serum, or Ig responses were not detected in most subjects. So that probably means that they didn't really test that many subjects out of the total pool with 2 doses. And them not having the neutralizing antibodies is probably the big deal there. So there's no long-term response or long-term vaccination. What they're saying with COVID, you might have to get shots every several months, so it doesn't look like the oral increases that time frame, probably decreases it on how often you'd have to receive a dose, but a lot of people would rather take a pill than a shot, so could still have some applications. but as you see right now, still selling off down to $11. But if you look at the chart here, the last 3 days it was basing around 10, hit 25. So see if we can find support here in the 10s, 1081, 10.7, 10.3. So $10 area is an area to look for potentially a bounce, especially on the open as people take profits. TLRY, TLRY, which is a cannabis play. Another cannabis company was sold this morning. Jazz Pharmaceutical was bought by GW Pharma, and so Jazz was one of the first companies to actually use cannabis to do epilepsy treatment. TLRY does do some medical stuff, so they're getting a bump too. And you see their chart; it's been taken off recently, especially since the election with Democrats, more liberal type leaders in favor for federal cannabis reform, legalization. And recently they said, I think it was Spike here last week or 2 weeks, that they were going to do everything they could to get that bill through this year, which would be a great thing for cannabis companies, obviously. So TLRY up, usually trades a good amount of volume, good ranges, so there should be some good entries and exits. We're sitting at all-time high here around 5 o'clock. So, I mean, this thing could likely pull back to this 2408 range and then look to push higher. Ignore the yellow bar here, that's old from Fibonacci level. But could be a good mover today. Other cannabis had been moving yesterday. CGC, Canopy Growth Company, had a pretty good range yesterday. It's kind of quiet this morning, so let's see what it does at the open. Some movers from yesterday that I forgot to mention in my post-market video. Churchill Capital Group, CCIV, they're up on potential merger views with Lucid. This thing, has been on tear lately, and literally yesterday. So if we look at yesterday's chart, real quick, kind of get this up, steady movement sideways all afternoon, and then about 10:45 just takes off from $8.75 up to $35. Still sitting pretty high in the 31s here. So could have some more profit taking on the open, or we could move up higher. I think you up on the right in the 5-minute and 15-minute dollar area, right? Getting kind of wicky up here in the $34 area. So as it moves higher, that could be potential resistance. And if you just look at pre-market this morning, got to get through 33, low 33s first as it moves higher. SELB is the next one. Selective Biosciences. This is kind of a big one that's been talked about on Twitter. As you see, for lower priced biotech company, $4 to $1 range is better than being in the pennies. It's been kind of here in a sideways channel, and then the uptrend here in the last 2 weeks. And last week on the 26th, so which would be last Tuesday, it got a price target increase from $2.50 to $8. So that's probably could be a reason why we're seeing this late term run, right? So about a week of being sideways, holding the moving averages, and then we get a pop. Kind of low volume here in pre-market, so we'll see what kind of volume it brings in regular hours. You see here on the right, the volume in the last hour on the 5-minute was pretty healthy. A lot of moves you can make in there, easy in and out. So we'll see what happens. Still uptrending slightly in pre-market, so we'll see what that happens on the open. So that's what I'm looking at today. Market's not as crazy as it has been the last few days. Could be a sideways day for most things, and then see if we can have a big day for the rest of the week. If you're looking at something else, or you want me to look at something else, let me know in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.